Hey everyone, this is Matt Cromwell. I work at wordimpress.com, and we built a plugin called Give, which is the best way to accept online donations in WordPress right now. We love it, and I'm experimenting with Blab in order to see if this is a great medium for us to use to do these occasional blabs to talk about Give and to help users to understand it better and use it really well. So that's what's going on. That's what we're doing right now. You know what? Actually, I have another question. Frank seems to be, there's a guy on here named Frank Clark, and he seems to know a lot about Blab. Frank, do you know if there's a way for me to do a screen share? I haven't actually done that. Can I do a screen share? No, we don't know. Okay. Let's see. Not seeing an easy way to do a screen share. Yeah. Well, that's going to make it a little bit limited for sure. Yeah, or another third party. Yep, not a native feature. Yep. Well, that'll make it a bit limited. So we'll talk about it first a little bit. I know that there's a couple folks on here that have some experience with Give already. And if any of them would like to jump on, I'm happy to chat. Lots of chats coming through. Cool. All right, Give. It's a, like I said, nonprofit thing. It basically is for creating forms on your WordPress site so that you can accept payments, donations specifically, and be able to get it done that way. And it's really excellent for making things as easy as possible. It's got robust reporting. And you know what I'm going to do actually with this? I think I'm going to just point my camera at my screen. I think that's the best way to make this happen at this point. I'm going to move my... that's a good one, Frank. Second camera with pointed at a screen. That's a good idea for future reference. I like that. So for now, I'm going to jump this over here. And see, it's a little bit, everything's backwards. Everything's backwards. I think I might be able to adjust that. Let's see. Give me just 1 second. That's no fun if everything's backwards. Well, I'm glad we're just testing today. Yep, I'm not seeing any way to flip this camera. Oh, I'm seeing it's mirrored, but it's right for you. Oh, cool. That sounds good. Thanks, Kevin. I'll try to make this a little bit more permanent. Alrighty, we'll go with that. Cool. All right, so right out of the box, this is a standard Give form in the 2016 WordPress theme that's going to be coming out in just a couple weeks. Well, it's out already, but it'll be in core in WordPress 4.4 in just a couple weeks. This is just a standard, what it looks like right out of the box. No really fancy anything going on, except for that I do have one of our premium add-ons for the credit card payment installed here. I believe I have Stripe installed at the moment. So right out of the box, you can see it's very minimalist, but very clean. And what we try to emphasize with Give is that it has very easy and very simplistic fields. Have somebody calling in. I don't know. You tell me what you like in the comment box, and I'll see if I can add you in. Ask me some questions there. And right out of the box, it's really clean and minimal. And what best practices for our online donations is really as few fields as possible is what's going to make it more possible that you're going to get better online donations. So let's look at the back end real quick. How do you basically create a Give form as easy as possible? This is the form that I was just showing you. This is how it is edited in the back end. Let's go ahead and just hit add new form so you can see it from scratch. You'll notice it looks just like the post editor. You can add a title here. I'm going to say new form for lab. And that's the name of my campaign now. And the first thing you want to decide right away is this going to be a set donation or is it going to be a multi-level donation? And right now I have it set. Let's set it to $50. And then do you want to allow a custom amount? Basically, do you want this form to be to allow people to type in their own amount here? Or is it just set at $50? This is sometimes useful if you're doing like a event, charity event, where you want to basically do donation tickets, and maybe each ticket is $50. But in this case, I'm going to say, yes, I want to do a custom amount. And now I could tell them, give a custom amount. Or I could change that to give whatever you'd like. Not the nicest way to say it, but that's how you could change it. Does this form have a goal? Let's say yes, so you can see that. We want, for this charity event, we want to raise $10,000. And the progress bar is going to be this nice green color. On the Give form itself, do we want to describe it? Do we want to have content above or below the form? We're going to say yes and put it above the form. And this is just a standard editor. And you could add as much as you like. And I'll show you an example of a form that I did with this on another site. And then this is one of the features we really like about Give. This is the display options. How do I want the payment options to be displayed on the form? Do I want it to show all of them immediately on the page? Or when you click Donate Now, should it reveal the payment fields or even open up as a modal? For now, let's do open up as a modal. Complete donation. Reveal mode, this is going to be, I'm going to change this to enter your info. And then the complete donation is, let's say, donate now, just so you can see those. The gateways I'll get into in a little bit because there's a couple questions about those from our viewers. Disable guest donations is basically, do you want people who are not logged into your site to be able to donate? Most likely yes, but there are some benefits to requiring or asking for logins or asking for people to register for your site, and that's basically that they'll have a donor history page where they could see all of the donations that they have ever given to your organization on one page. So we do give that option because it's really useful for nonprofits, especially ones that have members. And here you can enable the the login form or registration form. Floating labels is a new feature that we've added recently. I'm going to enable it so you can see those. And it basically makes the fields a lot more streamlined and more clean. You can add a terms and conditions if you wanted. Let's say yes, just so you can see those. We'll leave that agree to terms. And these are our terms. Agree. The excerpt can be used just like a post excerpt. I won't bother with that right now, but that's the basics. And then here we can add a featured image. You saw that placeholder earlier. I'll just add one of these generic ones here. And I'll hit publish. Give out of the box comes with its own single form. So let's view form. And you'll see it looks pretty much just like it did before on that other form. You see here's our featured image right here. New form for Blab. We've got $0 out of 10,000 that we want to raise. You'll notice this big alert right here that's saying that Give is currently in test mode. And I'm suggesting that they donate $50. But because I allowed them to do a custom amount, I can delete that out and say, no, I want to give $150. And now that button needs to be adjusted. We can adjust that pretty easily with some CSS. This is the default styles of 2016, so it doesn't look very strong, that button. And it says right there, enter your info. We're going to click that, and because I chose modal earlier, it's going to pop up just like that. Now here's all those fields that we mentioned. And here is where you can see the floating labels that I mentioned. Instead of the label being outside of the field, outside the input field and taking up more space, they're nicely embedded inside the field. This just gives it a lot cleaner look and feel. Here we can enter our credit card number. I believe I have authorized.net right here, so I'm going to use a test, one of their test credit cards. Actually, I believe that authorized is not set up right now. Put your name. Here's the expiration date, 05/16, billing. Here's the agree to terms. And if you want to show the terms, pops out like this. These are our terms, agree. And let's do name on card. I believe it's going to give me an error because authorize is not set up correctly. Yes, error connecting to authorize. I think that's important to see anyway, just so you see that even in the modal, these errors show correctly. So let's move over and fix that. I'm going to enable a different gateway. You'll see right here, I went to donation settings, I went to payment gateways. And here, I'm going to enable PayPal standard, and I'm going to enable test payment and offline donations. There's a whole bunch of settings here. I'm not going to go over everything. So I just saved those settings. I'm going to go back over here and refresh. Okay, here's $50. Give whatever you like, and you'll see that now we have these payment gateways enabled. Test payment doesn't really have any fields necessary. PayPal, this is PayPal standard, not PayPal Pro, so there are no credit card fields in this one. But you see our nice clean floating labels right there, and the agree to terms, show terms is still there. Offline donations has its own fields that you get to enter, basically to provide people with instructions on how to give offline. As soon as you select offline donation, it all shows up there with those instructions. And you can optionally enable the billing details. This is useful when you want to send them a thank you note via snail mail. So they did something on offline. Maybe they went and they brought canned goods to your organization, and you collected this information so you could send them a thank you card later. So with offline, everything is there already. Let's agree to the terms. We hit donate now, and we go immediately to the donation confirmation page. And you'll notice that because this is an offline donation, it's going to say pending right here. Pending, it's pending because basically you an offline donation is received somewhere else. So you need to actually do a manual confirmation that that offline donation was actually received. So let me show you that real quick. We'll go to donations, go to transactions, and you'll see that my pending donation for $50, it just came in. We can hit view donation details. And right here is the status of that payment. So let's say they were going to bring canned goods. I received their canned goods and I got their receipt for it here. And so I'm going to change this status to complete. And I'm going to save payment. The reason why you want to make sure to do that is just for your records, but also because on your form, the goal is not going to be reflected with that $50 until we make that confirmation. Oh, and because it's in test mode also. Cool. So just a general overview of these side menu items. These are the forms where you can change any of them. These are the transactions that are coming through. These are all my test transactions. You see a lot of them are pending. A lot of them are complete. You can see them all here. For example, when you go to donor details, you can then click on view donor details, and it'll take you to a donor page where you'll see their picture associated with their email address. You can see how many donations they've done, what their lifetime donations is right here. I've already donated $17,000. That's amazing. Address, street. Here's all their donations, recent donations, completed donations. You can add notes to the donor. These are for your internal purposes. All of that is there. We had a question earlier. Kevin asked, can you tell us about reporting features for segmented donations? Kevin, I'm going to ask you if you're still here. Are you still here, Kevin? Yep. I'm going to ask you, do you want to come on, jump into the seat and talk about reporting features a little bit? Are you good with that? All right. I'm going to open up that seat. The seat, actually, yeah, there you go. It's open. Boom. Hey, there's Kevin.
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Thanks for coming on board.
Sure thing. So I've been playing around with Git a little bit in the test environment, just in sandbox mode, but I was looking into adding custom fields, but wondering how that could tie into reporting. And just to give you some context, I'm doing work for an education foundation that receives donations for either scholarships or grants. So when making the donation, the user is asked which they want to attribute that donation towards. I was wondering if there's a way to show which one was chosen in the reporting.
Yep, good question. Okay, so let's go real quick to transactions. We'll start there rather than starting with reporting.
Okay.
Let me go to one of our other forms that has a there's a couple different ways that we can do that. This form, for example, I just called it PayPal form. It has a basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. And I've gone back and forth with a couple users to suggest that they use the multi-level feature to designate the fund. So let's say you have like a youth fund, a seniors fund, and a kayaking fund just for fun. You would have this donation form, and each of the buttons would be a different fund. So $25 for the youth fund, $25 for the senior fund. And you could designate per button how much that is. And then, of course, there's also the custom donation one.
I was thinking about that too, but that's also tied to the amount that they're allowed to donate, right?
Say it again.
So by default, those buttons are tied to a specific amount.
Yep.
So can you allow the user to select which fund they're donating to, but also choose their own amount?
Currently, the best way to do that would be to add some custom fields. And there's two ways you can do that. We have actually really good documentation, especially for someone like you, Kevin, who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I was taking a look at that. Looks pretty robust. Yeah,
and I'll point out a couple things about this.
Okay.
So this is our documentation site. We have a whole thing dedicated just to developers here that we're constantly updating. And we have a page here called creating custom form fields. And we have another one called custom email tags. So this one right here will show you step-by-step how you can add additional fields with code to any of your form fields. And let me see, I believe I linked to it here at the bottom.
I'll paste that in the chat if anyone wants to look.
I actually need to update that article with this link, but we have also on GitHub, we have a repo called Give Snippet Library. I'll go there first.
Okay.
And you'll find some snippets here. One of them in particular, form customizations. And this one right here is custom fields plugin. This is not really a snippet. It's a one file plugin that is basically a fully functioning example of these two documentation articles. So this one is how you can add custom fields into your forms. And all of that code is in this functioning plugin. And then you'll notice at the end of this article, we have another link that goes how to add custom email tags, because after you have those fields, you want to be able to add them into the email receipt as well. And so that's what this article is how you add custom email tags. And this sample code is also in this functional plugin. So this plugin right out of the box, you just drop it into your WP plugins and it'll activate and it will add one custom field to a form and add a new email tag that you can add into your donation receipt. Cool. And once that's in there, your the actual information that's collected would actually show up in the donation details right underneath here in donor details. It's going to show up right inside here.
Gotcha.
That's the developer way to make it happen. We also just released a new add-on, which is already pretty much our most popular add-on. It's called Form Field Manager. And that allows you to do it with a nice point-and-click UI, basically.
Okay. Is there a way to see the cumulative results for a specific segment?
Not if you do it that route. So the other route is that you would create a form for each fund. And if you only have 3 funds, then that's pretty straightforward. And it's actually a lot better to do it that way because you'll get a lot more robust reporting. But what you can do in addition to that is the Give out of the box has an archive page. So you can basically point, a really good best practice for donations is to have a big donate now button on your header or in different prominent places. You can actually have that lead to the archive page. And I'll show you a real quick good example of one of those that
that makes a lot of sense. I hadn't even considered making separate forms.
Yeah, it's a more robust way to do it. This is actually a live site that's using Give, and I helped with their archive page because they asked a real similar question. So this is just their standard archive page. We just styled it up a little bit. Actually, I got a lot of help from Nick. I don't know if Nick is here. Say hi if you're here, Nick. Nick helped out with this as well. And this is all their Give forms, all on one page, and it has a nice introduction here. And you can just click on them, and it takes you directly to the one page with all the info. So,
awesome.
I mean, I know that in a lot of ways that's kind of like a pretty straightforward question, like how do I designate funds? But at the end of the day, there's lots of different ways you can designate funds. So then that's one reason why we like Give, is, and the way we built it is to be really flexible to serve a lot of different purposes. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Appreciate it. I'm going to jump out and let someone else jump on.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Kevin. Cool. All right, next question then. I'm going to take DJ. DJ, are you still here? DJ still around? Yes. Do you want to be on? Do you want to jump in the hot seat? You can just click on that seat. Don't have a webcam. All right, no worries. DJ asked what's seemingly a pretty simple question. Is the recurring donations add-on about to be ready? It is, more or less. We're working on it every single day. Recurring donations is a really, really excellent way to do donations online. And a lot of nonprofits want to make sure that they can do that. And we have been developing our add-on for a very long time, and I just want to give a little bit of context to that. Basically, if you are a SaaS service on a site, you have a very closed environment, and doing recurring is fairly straightforward. If you're a plugin like ours, who is currently we're supporting 6 different payment gateways, and we plan to serve a lot more than that, recurring becomes a whole separate kind of animal altogether, which means it's just a lot more complicated. Andy is plus wanting that. Thank you, Andy, because Andy works with WooCommerce. They know the pain. And so it's not very straightforward, but we are working very hard on it, and it is coming along really, really well, and we're really excited about it. And we're promising that once it's out, which it will be out relatively soon, that it will be the most robust, most reliable, most awesome way to do recurring donations in WordPress for sure. So I know that a lot of people are really chomping at the bit about it, but we're working on it every single day, and it's going to be great, I promise. Okay, next. DJ, I know that doesn't perfectly answer your question, but okay, you said cool, thanks. I appreciate that, DJ. Next question, Frank. Oh, Frank, are you still around or are you taking off? Oh, it looks like Frank's taken off. Frank asked, gotta run. No worries, Frank. I'm going to answer your question about PayPal, which I think I did earlier anyway. Does it integrate with PayPal and other payment services? Absolutely does. I gave a little bit of a hint to that when I switched over to the add-ons page, and you also saw our payment gateways earlier. On our add-ons page, you can filter by payment gateways. You can see all the payment gateways that we integrate with: Stripe, Authorize, PayPal Pro, Braintree, Dwolla, Paymail, and WePay. We actually also have a big post that we're working on right now that's going to be comparing the major features of our major gateways that we offer to make it easier for folks to choose. But it does take a lot of research to know the best way to go for your particular nonprofit. But that's why we're trying to offer as many gateways as we can. Out of the box, Give is free, and the free plugin comes with test donations, offline donations, and PayPal standard. If you want to do credit card payments directly on your form, which is best practice, you're going to want to get one of our premium payment gateways like you see here. Cool. Okay, DJ's next question is not a question. We did some test questions earlier. Yes, that is not a question. I don't have any more questions here in the left-hand side. Do I have any more questions from folks live right now? Who's live right now? Anybody want to jump on? Happy to answer questions live. Somebody want to jump in the hot seat? Andy, you want to just chat about Give a little bit? Happy to chat with Andy whenever he's around. Ooh, there he is. Yay!
Hey,
Hey everybody, if you don't know Andy, he's great. He's a Woo Ninja and a official automatician and all around good guy.
sweet. Well, thanks for the intro. Not too much. Just my dogs are going wild. Just work, I guess. Saw you guys were on, so I figured I'd come jump in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you done anything awesome with a nonprofit recently?
Yeah. Not using Give though, unfortunately, because it's mostly a store. But yeah, I'm still fairly connected with the nonprofit I used to work for.
Nice.
Yeah, get messages all the time.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, but no, I hopefully am actually going to speak at another nonprofit conference coming up soon. So Give will be featured.
Nice. What's the conference?
It's called N10, Nonprofit Technology Conference, and they have a WordPress day. So we attended last year, or this year in March, but it's in like San Jose this year. Soon.
Nice. I actually get questions often from folks who ask, like, what's the difference between Give and WooCommerce?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me the answer?
Okay. So WooCommerce is obviously the #1 e-commerce platform. So it's mainly designed to sell something. So I guess the easiest way to describe the difference would be that Give is designed just for donations. It's built for donations. If that's what you need, then that's your best option, honestly. With WooCommerce, to take a donation like a name your own price, donation, then you would need another extension for that. And it can do it, but it's not as streamlined. It's not as nice as Give if you're doing donations.
That's a pretty good answer. I have to say I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys found a niche and you nailed it. So.
Yeah, no, we love WooCommerce. We'll never say anything bad about WooCommerce. It is definitely excellent and robust. And there are ways you can do donations with WooCommerce. They're, like you said, it's just not a totally streamlined for donations solution.
Yeah, it's not built for it. So yeah. It doesn't make sense if you're just going for a donation. Doesn't it make sense not to use a platform that's built for donations?
Yeah. DJ has another question. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But for the folks, there are folks who, like churches especially, religious organizations, yeah. They definitely want to take donations, but often they're also selling things like books or ebooks or lots of different things that they could sell. I've had some folks ask us, are we going to have a WooCommerce extension, basically? Like, so I mean, my thought, I just want to throw this past you and see what you think. My thought is that the church is like, okay, we've got this library of books that our pastor wrote that we want to sell. And at checkout in WooCommerce, we want them to be able to say, hey, why don't you just tack on $50 donation on top of it? And that like checkbox or that little donation field would actually hook into a Give form somewhere. What do you think of something like that?
I think that would be a good idea. The only thing that I can see would be having reports in different places, yep. I guess, and having to maintain 2 different platforms. But a lot of churches are already doing that anyways, so it's not that big of a deal for them. And it might actually make it cleaner for them for reporting, because they would have, like when you purchase something, it's not tax, whatever they call it. You don't get tax credit for it, whereas the donation you would. So it might actually make more sense.
Yep, separating out the tax purposes for sure. I like that. Cool. All right, Andy, appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later. DJ. Zapier extension, does it integrate with all Zapier connection points such as Salesforce? Is it a one-time fee or monthly? All of our add-ons are basically one-time fees. You can renew the license at the end of the year. They're all good for 1 year. And when you renew your license, you actually get a 25% off discount when you renew. So the Zapier extension is basically, Zapier works by having, if people don't know, Zapier is basically like a connector of all connectors. It allows you to connect a bunch of different services to communicate with each other. And the way we do that with Give is Give has its own API, and we have our own Zapier channel, basically. Zapier calls them channels, or what do they call them? Channels, I believe. And so we created a Give channel, and you have to get that through an invite in our documentation after you buy the extension. And I'm answering that question, so I'll put it up here. And once you have that channel, it can integrate, it can communicate with any of the other Zapier channels. So that includes Salesforce and everything. So that's why Zapier in particular is a really, really powerful tool. And we're really happy to have the Zapier extension that really will allow users to do a whole lot of things in a short amount of time. Cool. Does that answer your question, DJ? More or less? I see a comment. Yes, perfect. Thanks, DJ. I see a comment, slight comment from Spinbird. Shelly, do you want to jump on real quick? Can we chat? Do you have your webcam on? Can we talk about ticketing? Talk about your use case? She's chicken. No worries, just kidding. Well, let me real quickly talk about ticketing. Oh, actually, I said that I was going to show that one example, actually. Bad hair day. I highly doubt it, Shelly. You're like some of the best hair in WordPress. All right, so let's see. I'm going to show this one example. This is a site, organization that I actually volunteer with. We just had a big event this year called Blues and Brews. And it was basically ticket oriented. We don't have any integrations with like Woo tickets, the event calendar. We don't have integration with any of those things yet. We're thinking about it, but we're not exactly sure what that would actually look like. So if you really want to see something like that happen, feel free to contact us. But this is what I did. This is our give form, just a standard single give form. And I said earlier that I'd show you what it looks like with content. All of this is just content that I added into the give form in that display content area. And I set it to appear above. And then here's our featured image. And this is actually a give sidebar, which I didn't show earlier. But this is highlighting our Maps Builder Pro plugin right here. And then just some sidebar information. And then here's actually a food gallery. If you don't know food gallery, you should check it out. It's a great plugin. And all of those things are right here in the Give sidebar. And this is all content within the Give form that I created. And we kept all this content updated so people knew what to expect at the event. All of these are links to individual brewer profiles. We had testimonials about the food. This is all just like a big sales page, basically, to say this is going to be an awesome event. Everybody should come out and be excited about being there. Then basically the big call to action at the end of the big sales page is our give form. So we had to change this since the event is over now. But now we just have these levels basically, or give any amount you can, and we can type it in there. This is all live, so and you can see our floating labels are working great on this credit card field, everything like that. So this is one of the more robust, filled out examples, just because I did it myself, and I really like it. I think it turned out really great. And this was all event based, and we actually did use the Zapier extension to send the information. So I added some custom fields, like basically the name. I asked how many people are going to be in your party, and I asked for the names of the people who are in your party, and I used the Zapier extension to actually send that guest information to a Google spreadsheet. So as every single donation came in, the emails and the names of the people were being populated to a Google spreadsheet automatically, so that on the day of the event, all we had to do is print out that Google spreadsheet and we were done. So that was actually really went really well. I was really happy with that. So that's a good example of how I use Give for an event. Cool. Well, that's the highlights of most what everybody mentioned so far. I'll just check real quick. I'll just hang out for just a little bit, see if there's any other last questions from anybody coming in. I see Roy Boy is here. Roy is Sivan is a great guy who knows a whole lot about the WordPress API, and he's actually dug into the Give API a little bit. Let's do that. Roy, do you have your webcam on? Do you want to jump in and talk about API stuff real quick? Do it, man. Take the hot seat. You can do it. He's at the office. He's watching us on the down low. He doesn't want people to know that he's not nose to the grindstone working. All right, that's fine. But if you don't know Roy Sivan, look up roysivan.com and find out about what he's doing. Oh, let's see. Well, Andy's working from the office too, but Andy can work in his home office whenever he likes with his dogs. Cool. I'll just hang out for a minute. Anybody have last questions? Oh, Kevin's got one more. Sounds good. Do you want to jump on, Kevin, or you just a simple question? Jump on if you like. Cool.
Hey, just to follow up on the last one about the custom field reporting.
Yep.
Would there be a way to see the custom field values across all donations? Let's say like 5 out of 10 donors selected this option in this custom field. Or is it only associated with the individual donation from a reporting perspective?
Oh, let's see, from a reporting perspective. It's a good question, actually. Let me see. I didn't review that here, but in our export, if you go to donations reports, and then you go to the export tab, I need to double check. You know what? I'm not totally sure if the custom fields are going to be added to those reports right now. But that's a really good question that we'll have to dig into. We've actually discussed internally a bit that we want to review, especially because we released Form Field Manager. We want to review, kind of like have a more comprehensive review of the way that all that data is presented to our users, and go from there. But Kevin, I mean, you know how to reach me, so definitely dig into it. And if you have any issues, then I'm happy to dig into it along with you and see if we can find a better solution. Yeah, but like I mentioned to DJ, there is that way to connect with Zapier, and like I did, and populate a Google spreadsheet. And I did that with custom fields. So because I know all the custom fields actually are output in our API. So and if you have the will, it's all there. So it's just a matter of the best way to present.
Multiple form recommendation you made earlier. Is there a way to still see your overall total donations across all forms, or is it just individual to each form?
No, you actually do have, especially in those exports. If you do a reporting export, you definitely get it all there. And then actually you do get on the dashboard. You have a really simple overview of this week, this month, last month, and this year of donations across the board. So that all that stuff is there as well. You have a specific use case that you're working on with right now?
Yeah, it's for actually the education foundation associated with my old high school. Reached out to me, so I've been doing a little bit of volunteer work for them. But basically, they give out teacher grants and student scholarships throughout the year.
Mm.
They want to allow donors to select which one their donations are going towards. So that's what I'm trying to solve at the moment.
Cool.
I'm actually using Wufoo because I started the project like a couple months before you guys announced Give.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a kind of out of the box solution and didn't quite know how to put it together myself. But hopefully Wufoo is going to expire shortly and we can switch over to Give.
Cool. That sounds good. Well, keep me posted on how that goes, and we're happy to help out to see that happen.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Catch you.
Yep. Thanks, Kevin. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody jumping in and taking a look. We will most likely be doing this again at some point once I make a lot more reliable way to do a screen share, basically. I think this way kind of worked, but was a little bit janky. And that's definitely a little bit of a hindrance. But appreciate everybody's time, and definitely reach out to us, givewp.com, whenever you have any questions or anything. And appreciate